I was born into a world that rejected me. From the very first breath, I was unwanted, cast away by the very blood that should have given me life. A muggle father and a witch for a mother. An orphan left to rot, unloved and unseen. My very name, Tom Riddle, was a mockery. I was a child born without a family, abandoned by both sides. But what do you know about the things we are capable of when abandoned by the world? Do you understand the hunger that courses through a man when the world turns its back on him? Do you know what it is like to be born with no legacy, no purpose? I learned early. Power was everything. Power over the muggles who looked down on me. Power over the other children who dared to mock me. In the orphanage, I first began to discover my gift, magic. I could move things without touching them. I could make people suffer with a mere glance. The power to control those around me, it was intoxicating. It made me realize something that would shape the course of my life. No one should ever be weak again. No one should ever be able to harm me again. I would not bow to anyone. I would bend the world to my will. At Hogwarts, I found more than just knowledge. I found the truth. I found that there were wizards who wielded true power, wizards who were feared, respected, and followed, and I wanted it. No, I needed it. It was there, in the dusty corridors of Hogwarts, that I first learned the true nature of magic, dark magic, forbidden magic, the kind of magic that others were afraid of, the magic that could make one immortal. I craved it. The others, they were all too blind. They followed the rules, played their games, pretending that the only kind of magic that mattered was what was deemed acceptable. But I knew there was more. I could feel it. The dark magic, the power that lay beyond the reach of common wizards. I would become the greatest wizard to have ever lived. I remember the first time I gazed upon the mirror of Arise. There I stood not as Tom Riddle, but as the Dark Lord, tall, regal, powerful, fear emanating from every pore. All those who had ever wronged me, who had ever dared to look down on me, cowering at my feet. What did I truly want? Power, yes. Immortality, of course. But most of all, I wanted to be remembered. I would never fade into obscurity, like so many before me. I would be a name whispered for centuries. Legends would be written about me. The world would never forget Lord Voldemort. And it was then, before that mirror, that I understood the depths I must go, the path I must take, the sacrifices I must make to ensure my immortality. I sought knowledge wherever I could find it. I befriended professors, learned from their wisdom, their secrets. Professor Slughorn was one of them. He gave me the keys to doors that no other student would ever dare to open. But it was not enough. Slughorn's knowledge was limited. He could only take me so far. No, I needed more. I needed something that would keep me beyond the reach of death. I needed a way to control life itself. And that is when I found it. Horcruxes, fragments of the soul, anchored to objects, immortality through darkness. When I first read about them, I could hardly believe it. The magic was ancient, forbidden by all but the most ambitious of wizards. It was a spell that tore your soul, splitting it into pieces, each one held in a different object, each one an anchor to life. I had already learned to manipulate the world around me, to twist the wills of others. But this was something else. The magic would allow me to survive death, to create life when there was nothing left of the body. It would allow me to rule the world for eternity. The price, simple, my soul. The first one was the hardest. The first sacrifice. The first piece of my soul I had to tear away, to store in a locket. The ritual was dark. It demanded blood, pain, and the ultimate violation of nature. The more I cast the spell, the more I felt it, the emptiness. My soul was splintering, each piece slipping away from me, but it did not matter. No price was too high. If I could live forever, if I could bend the world to my will, what was a soul? What was humanity? And so I continued. Each Horcrux, each fragment of my soul, became a step closer to eternity. But each one, each dark magic ritual, left me less than what I once was. I felt it, a growing emptiness. The more Horcruxes I made, the more I lost myself. My humanity faded, replaced with something darker, colder. But it did not matter. The ring, the diary, the cup, the snake, each one another anchor, another step in my path. With every Horcrux my power grew, my immortality was assured. I had bound myself to these objects. They would protect me when death came for me, as it had so many others. I was invincible. Yet something twisted within me, something I could not control. The more I tore my soul, the more monstrous I became. The less I could feel, the more I sought to control, the more I realized that power was an illusion. You see, in my pursuit of immortality, I had made a terrible mistake. I had not understood the true nature of magic, of life itself. Magic does not simply control life. It controls the very essence of what it means to be alive. And I, in my arrogance, had severed my connection to humanity. Each Horcrux I made me less than I was before. I became a shadow of myself. I thought I could control it. I thought I could rise above it all. But they were my undoing. They turned me into something unnatural, something feared, something that would stop at nothing to secure its own power. But there was no joy in this power, no warmth, no humanity. It was only through love, that ridiculous weakness of others, that I realized the ultimate truth. I had become the very thing I despised, a thing that could never love, never be loved, a creature of pure, cold ambition, and I would reign over, all unfeeling, unyielding, forever. And then the prophecy, a child born to defeat me, the one thing I feared, the one thing I could never understand, love, a mother's protection, a power greater than any spell I had ever learned, the child who could undo all I had worked for. But I would not be undone. I would not lose. I would make sure the child would never reach adulthood. I would strike him down before he had the chance to even think. And yet, fate has a way of laughing at us, doesn't it? The curse I cast was not enough, and the child survived, protected by a love I could never fathom. And so I was broken, cast into the shadows, a powerless wraith, clinging to life in a way even I could not control. But it was not over. It was never over.